Welcome to Forever Exiled, the Path of Exile podcast. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
Tyler, Wrecker of Days. Oh, hang on. I kind of have my voice back. My kids have been extremely disappointed with me for about 20 episodes. Hang on.
Here we go.
This is going to annoy everybody except for my kids and maybe Chris, because he sometimes does that when we chat on Xbox. But hang on. Okay.
Oh, this is going to be good.
No, it's not. It's not.
You've
not.
wrecked
Let's just
it
move
now.
on. Never mind. Let's just move on. I'll do it next week.
130. Episode 129, Forever Exiled.
That's us. Yeah.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us. And things, you know.
Mm-hmm. Sorry
we're
for
here.
the long intro.
This week, I'm the one with the voice that's driving me crazy. Big shout out, though, to our patrons. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. If you're curious what Patreon gets you, it's Access to After Dark, which is our podcast that follows this podcast, where we just talk about more stuff and things. And it comes out once a week, 1 hour after the main episode, every week, all the time.
60% of the
Once a
time.
week.
That's never going to get old.
Never.
It was so funny the first time I heard it. I just couldn't believe it. Was great.
Yeah. Anyway, big shout out to everybody who supports the podcast. Your faces are wicked.
Thank you, patrons.
Yeah.
Is it patrons or Patreons?
Super awesome people.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying. And
Saps, also known as Saps, super awesome people.
we have 3 cards coming out that are about a month late. So my apologies, Jeremy, Nick, and Martin. It's my fault. I got backed up with
Always your
everything
fault.
else. It is, and I don't know why I'm normally really on it. But my apologies. I'm a month behind. So Jeremy, Nick, Martin, cards are in the mail.
They went out the day after he got them to me.
Yeah. It's like,
Superstar.
So you know whose fault it normally is if he's bragging about that.
They went out right away. How's your
Anyway,
week?
thank you, Justin. And sorry, guys.
How's your week?
I had a good week. It's been a crazy week. I actually didn't get anywhere near the amount of downtime that I normally like to get, but it was good. Good hanging out with people and doing things. Just one of those weeks. Nothing special, man. Just work getting done in the house. And went out and saw some extended family, actually, that we hadn't seen for a while. And so that was nice on my wife's side of the family. And they asked us over for dinner. And where we are, the COVID restrictions for socializing are basically gone. So that was cool to just hang out, actually give them a hug when you show up. And yeah, it was neat. It was good. It was nice to see them. Went with my in-laws as well there. So it was my wife's parents and then the extended family that invited us over, and then my wife and kids and myself. So it was good. It was nice. How about you? Do you have a week?
Yeah, it was fine. I was recovering from a cold and then caught another one. So, you know, the no mask thing, it's working great. I prefer not to wear a mask. I definitely do not like wearing it, but hold on, I'm pressing a button here. Nope. Anyway, it's annoying. I hate having colds. I don't like feeling sick.
Oh, you are the ultimate sissy when it comes to feeling sick. You want nothing to do with it.
I want every drug possible. Yeah. I am hopped up on so many things. I'm not even going to mention them right now. And I just don't like being sick. I hate not being able to do what I need to do or feeling like I'm going to pass out. So yeah, no, not a fan of being sick. And my wife's sick right now too. So I was saying to her today, I'm like, man, it would be so easy to be sick without kids. Cause then you just do nothing. I'll go, I can go lay down. I could work from my bed if I wanted to. But kids are like, attention.
You remember that? What is it? Like a Tylenol commercial or something? Maybe you don't watch commercials because you're just like, oh man. So it's old though. It might have been when you still had commercials in your house. But it's like this guy, he's laying in bed and he's all snotty and drippy and drooly and gross. And he's like, Pam, calling his wife.
He calls his wife. Yeah. I think I remember that.
Pam. And she looks at him. She's just glaring at him. She knows what's coming. And he looks at her all mopey. He's like, can you call my mom? And she just throws him some like Tylenol night or something like that. So he can, but anyways.
I'm not the type to be like reliant on other people. I just am crabby. I'm grumpy. I want to get back to normal. And I will take every drug possible. It's funny you bring up commercials. When we went to Great Wolf Lodge, I don't know if I mentioned this to you or not, but it was the first time that my daughters learned what commercials were. They're not fans at all.
Oh,
my youngest, she's 4. She's watching Bluey. It was playing on the Disney Channel or something at one time when they were just chilling in this little room part that they had. And she's like, well, I want to watch the episode where they do this. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. You just have to watch the one that's on TV. And she's like, what? The concept of having to like not pick your show and then also have like these random breaks was foreign to them. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah. And you're like, actually, this is why your shows are only 26 minutes instead of 30 minutes, because back in the day.
Yeah. Well, we use
That's
like
cool.
references for how long their shows are when we're driving. So my wife will be like, it's like 3 more episodes of Bluey before we get there.
That's forever.
What?
How's your son liking his phone? You were saying
fine.
last episode, I think, Logan's, you got him a shutdown phone?
Yeah. Today was his first day of like actually taking it out because they went they went to a farm with my parents-in-law. He doesn't, it's not like it's a phone for him to just have, you know, like he doesn't carry it around. It's for when he goes back to school, which will be next week because they're still on spring break.
Yeah.
And he's got he can message his friends and his cousins and stuff. So he likes that, but it's not a free for all phone to just install whatever he wants and play whatever he wants.
Sure. But he probably feels like a boss putting it in his pocket. He's probably like, oh, right.
Well, today's the first day of that. So we'll see. Yeah. He tried to take it yesterday, but we had some problems with TELUS. So I had to take it in and get some stuff sorted out. But yeah, I'm sure he loves it, but he's like, well, could I add this? I'm like, no. Well, could I ever? I'm like, no.
Oh man.
You got a friggin' Switch and other things you can play. Like you don't need to be playing some stupid game on a phone. That phone is for me. I need to know where you are and reach you. It's not for you. It's not a toy. When you start paying for it, you can add a game. So yeah, it's fine. It's cool.
Well, congratulations on introducing commercials to your family, because when my wife came in, like when we got married, when my wife came into the family, we started it together. Anyway, when we got married, she was like, her whole family is like all about fast forwarding commercials. I'm like, no way. I love them. I laugh out loud. I love commercials. I rewind commercials to watch them again. It's great. So congratulations, Justin.
Commercials were always the time to go to the bathroom or grab some chips or something.
But we all know in Dumb and Dumber how influential commercials can be. You don't remember that scene? We are going to unfriend right now if you don't remember them crying to a long distance commercial.
That's all it took. Don't remember.
All right, whatever. Well, glad you're fine. Last episode ever show. Actually, folks, I do need to apologize, but because we have our private league going on, this is going to be a pretty short episode because Justin and I were playing the private league, and then I had some appointments to do with, you know, the stuff going on in the house, and then my wife's going to be home in like 25, 30 minutes, and then all chaos is going to break loose. So
I also feel like poop, so.
Yeah, but nobody cares about you.
Rude. We'll still record After Dark later tonight. Anyway, let's get into what happened this week in PoE.
What did happen this week, Justin?
You want me to do this? Well, actually,
tell me about your
let me
notes.
check these notes. There was announcements made.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good. I love announcements.
Would you like to, you know, expand on said announcements?
I'm so bad at introductions. And what do you call the exit? Outro?
Yeah,
what do you call it? Like an introduction? Sure. Like, hey, can I do the introductions? Hey, can I do the exit-utions?
Outro?
Sure. Anyway, you're really good at those. I would need a billion episodes.
I think you're doing just fine so far. Going great.
These introduction. Anyway, did you King Cat Noodle? And I actually like that GGG does this for some stuff because it's not like there's competition really for lore stuff in the PoE community. So I like that it's like, okay, shout out, it's good for Kit and Cat Noodle. But anyway, GGG posted Kit and Cat Noodle's new most recent lore stuff for this league, which is nice. So happy for her. I haven't seen it.
I haven't watched it yet, but I did see it. That's awesome.
Yeah,
one day I am going to sit down and actually watch them. I just have to find some time for them.
There'd probably be an issue with it if like, you know, it was like there was like 40 people always trying to compete for like lore clicks and stuff. But as far as I know, she's the only one and does an awesome job at it. So I'm glad she's hosted by PoE for that, or at least pro mode. And then talent competition highlights, always amazing. Hook Card got their thing.
What did you vote for? There's 3 left.
I switched my vote. The one that I previously voted for made it, but now I switched it. I went for Unique Fishing Rod.
Yeah, I know people probably want that corrupted 20. I thought you went for that corrupted 23%.
It makes sense because it's like,
but it's still in there.
I accidentally got a boot. Yeah, I know, but then I changed my mind.
Oh.
I just said that like 20 seconds ago. I thought you said
the one you voted for didn't get in, so then you're going for the Unique Fishing Rod.
You never listen. You never listen.
I can't even vote. I was going to vote on it, but it won't let me.
Why?
Sorry, token has expired. Please submit the form again. Not going to do it. Anyway.
You just click again. That's all you do.
Not doing it. No. Had one shot. Shot.
What were you going to vote for? What are we
the
all
unique fishing rod?
on?
That's what I always did in the first. That's what I did the first time.
That's mine. Cool.
Yeah, you took
and then
that from me.
Ziz's gauntlet. Nobody ever plays. Nobody.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
How many people play? Do you know?
Not a clue.
Anyway, that starts April Fool's Day, so good luck with all of that fun and frivolity.
Yep.
And MTX. You liked the MTX that came out this week.
I like the Portal. The new Portal that came out looks awesome.
Pretty cool. You ever seen the Castlevania show on Netflix? The anime that they made, the original, has some pretty similar animations with portals and stuff there. It's pretty cool. Mirrors.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
it's really cool. It's got this really cool 3D effect as it's moving. I was playing with it today. It looks awesome. Yep.
Cool. I actually really like the Madcap set. I don't know why. I don't like the this is going to sound silly because of course we're playing like a fantasy game, but I don't like the unrealistic looks. But for some reason, the clown stuff, put it in every game, makes sense. Like you just get some crazy clown. So I like the Madcap stuff. So even though it's just
quite a bit of it, because I think I got the mystery boxes for some reason. I don't remember why, but I do have a number of
the
MTX
like the clown stuff. So I wonder what it was.
There must have been something I was going for. Maybe the portal was cool or something. I don't remember, but I do have a number of those MTXs. And
in that same click, they have the Huntsman shield, and I do like the more naturally green and leafy stuff. So yeah, no, that was pretty cool. There was some really cool stuff in there. The sigil, the themed sigil hideout decorations I thought were neat. You could put that kind of stuff under or around anything. But I mean, goodness me, that synthesis waypoint.
Yeah, you like the waypoint stuff, don't you?
Well, I don't know. It's one thing you are going to use all the time. The waypoints, your stashes. And I really like, those are the things that I would probably rotate through. Definitely. I really like them. So anyway, I thought that they really nailed that one. Totes, just totes. And then pretty big patch if you're a controller fan.
Yep.
Did you go through it? There were some other improvements there. I flew through them, but they've had a lot of really good fixes. Yeah, it's a lot of fixes. They did some stuff that was outside of the controller stuff as well, but obviously there was a number of stuff that was for controller. How have you been finding controller? Is it pretty seamless from coming from console? Yeah, with my experience playing on console since console was released quite a few years ago, the natural aspect of it is good. It's not, it's still, I mean, beta, right? So they still have some fine tuning to do in terms of how the controller slips in with the keyboard, like chat, even though they fixed some chat stuff with this, what patch was this? 17.3b. It's still like when I was broadcasting today for our private league, it was still quite glitchy in terms of like how I interact with it and doing it properly. So it's still not that streamless, but it's still quite good. There's a tiny bit of hiccups when it comes to aiming. It's still a little, I guess you could say technically I don't know if delayed's the right word, but on console, let's say I'm using Fireball, right? I started as the Witch today, so I'm using Fireball. And as soon as I hold right on the analog stick, so let's say I'm running left.
Left is the move?
Left analog stick is your movement, right? So let's say, but my character itself, I'm running to the left and I'm holding left.
Yeah.
Right. Let's say I'm fighting Hillock, right? So I'm doing the back and forth. So I'm running to the left, but then I quickly hold to the right and hit X for Fireball. No matter where my character is facing, the Fireball will aim in the direction of the analog stick when I'm on console.
Of the left analog stick.
Right. So yeah.
Correct?
So my movements.
Can I ask you a question? When you're playing with controller, what does the right analog stick do?
You said that like they say in the UK. They don't say the hospital. They say hospital. I go to hospital.
I said, what does the right analog stick do?
You said the control. Anyway, go ahead.
When you're
you have to start over.
Using the controller,
okay.
What does the right analog stick do?
Nobody knows.
So, because in my head, when I was talking to you about the idea of kiting stuff, right? So quite often, especially in the league we're playing, I'm running to the right, but casting to the left as I run to the right because I need to, kite something because it's going to kill me. I would have thought in my head that if I had the controller, if I was holding to the left with the left analog, that I could aim to the right with the right analog.
No, aiming's not on the right analog.
So what does the right analog do when you're playing the game? Really?
Not that I can remember. I think you asked me this last week and I couldn't remember anything. I'm like, oh, shoot. Probably does do something and I use it all the time, but I just forgot to say it. But I can't think of anything right now.
Because it would be very hard to run to the left and now when you do it in PC, if I'm starting to run to the right, okay, or I'll do the same example. I'm running to the left, but I need to cast to the right. Yeah. I can click to the left, and as my character's going, I can cast to the right, and my character will stutter for a second, and then I keep moving. That's the idea. You click and move, click and click, right?
Yeah.
It would be really hard if you can't do that on controller to be able to kite something or to, you know what I mean?
It's about the same, right? Because you still have to stop to cast.
Well, the difference though is if you are an analog on the controller and I'm holding to the left and then all of a sudden I need to cast to the right, that means I have to move the analog to the right, which potentially is actually going to move my character to the right, which doesn't happen on PC.
Yep.
My character only turns and casts, but doesn't actually start moving to the right.
In terms of like, there'd be a half-second difference or a small type of difference there. But yeah, you still have to stop and then do the cast. On PC right now, and it'll likely change. It'll likely be just as streamless as it is on console now. So on console, let's say I'm running to the left and then I go to cast right. On console, I'm running to the left and then I'll start casting to the right and I'll move my analog stick to the right. And it's where my analog stick is aiming that the fireball will go. It's not based on where my character is the animation of my character is looking. It's based on where my analog stick is going. On PC, it's actually based on where your character is looking, not where your analog stick is. So there were many times in my first Hillock fight, for example, where I'm running in one direction and then I go to cast behind myself. And then
you were casting right in front of yourself. I was watching.
But instead, I was casting and I'm hitting the wall or I'm casting away because I wasn't used to that where I'm facing style of play.
It would be cool if the right analog allowed you to aim, so that if I was running to the left with the left analog and I was holding to the right with the right analog and I hit my cast, my character would stop just like it would in PC, because that's fair. It's not fair for you to continue being able to move to the left, but I would kind of stutter, stop, cast, and continue moving to the left.
Yeah, and
it's weird that they don't take advantage of that right analog, because that's a mouse to me. That the ability for the mouse is I can be running in any direction and then move my mouse to where I want to cast to, hit the cast button. My character will instantly turn around, cast the cast, and then I click to continue to move.
Yeah, I could see that being a really good option if they added two separate things. Right now, skills have to be on the face buttons, which is on an Xbox, the X, Y,
which is a bit tough.
So yeah, you can't aim with the right analog and then hit the face buttons. That would be
if you
just
hold
as
your
much
hands like weird, right?
You could use your index fingers on your analog sticks and play like a piano. So if they added the ability to remap your buttons,
I'm sure,
then you could do that whole aiming thing. You could even have it as pushing down on the right analog stick is actually using your skill as a button. But I hate that kind of stuff. The only other thing would be that you would need to make it as an on or off option, like something that you could toggle. Because that would definitely, I like the stress-free and the calm way of using a controller, you know what I mean? And then having like all that extra aiming and stuff, that kind of removes it for me. So personally, I wouldn't turn it on.
I couldn't.
It would need to be
the way you do it. I couldn't. Like if I couldn't control, like if I'm using freezing pulse.
Oh, right.
In our league, which is made to be more difficult, I need that ability to kite an enemy away.
Yeah. And honestly, though, I was joking with you today while we were hanging out on Discord and I was playing and broadcasting. I was joking. I'm like, I've never because we're not playing Gauntlet, but we're playing Gauntlet for us, right? So we're doing softcore. Oh, we'll get there. We're playing unintentionally. We're playing softcore, but then we have 40% more monster life attack, whatever the
plus
highest
haste,
is for
plus
monster speed,
minus 40 resist,
life, damage, and then negative resists. That's what we're playing with. Whatever the max is for those. So it's rough, you know. What was Josh saying? He's like, oh, I've died 5 times. I'm playing horrible, and I do slash deaths, and I'm at 50.
Yeah.
You know, like it's rough. But I came to a realization today that even though I don't have any characters that use SRS permanently, Summon Raging Spirits is my most valuable. Is the skill that I would vote as like the MVP, the most valuable skill ever, because if I didn't have SRS, it's the ultimate kiting skill, right? Doesn't matter where you're looking, where you're going, just move, cast, move, cast, move, cast, and things will eventually die. It's so nice. And if I didn't have that, I'd be so screwed for leveling so many different characters.
Yep.
So high five SRS and GG, please, GGs, please take special care of SRS so that it's always fantastic. Also, please add that it's physical damage converted to fire damage on the gem itself. That is in good, important information. Likely. No? Nobody? Yeah. Nobody? Okay. Yeah. Okay. What? Melee physical works with it because it's physical damage, but nobody knows unless you're on. Anyway. Yeah. No. Controller sports. Awesome. I was really enjoying it. The only frustrating thing was, and I felt bad because people were PMing me on in the game, and I was having such a difficult time getting around the glitches of.
So you can't just move the mouse to type when you're on the controller?
Well, they came out with one fix for it. Right now, it still needs more fixing, but it's better than it was. So there's no way for me to access chat, as far as I could find out, with the controller itself. When I hit going back to the Nintendo days, I still call it those things start and select. When I hit select, that brings up like all my character stuff, right? My character tab, my skills, my tree, my atlas, whatever. When I hit start, it brings up the menu, right? So resume, options, and that kind of stuff. So none of those bring up chat. And so when you're on PC, you hit enter on the keyboard for chat. And then what I found that I had to do is I still had to use some of the shortcuts, but it didn't quite work. I actually had to click specific. I couldn't just hit enter and then start typing. I had to like hit enter and then I'd have to click within the chat window to give me permission. But then it would kind of glitch. Sometimes it would bring up people that I had messaged 2 chats ago instead of my most recent chat. And it was still, but I mean, those will get fixed. But right now it's not overly convenient. If I could hit enter and then just start typing, awesome. That's what I really hope it ends up being. But yeah, controller's really awesome. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm doing our private league on it. And it's pretty amazing. Never going back to keyboard.
Yeah, I'm going to try it, just not for the private league, but I am going to. I got a new controller too, so I got a new controller for Elden Ring. Yeah, I was getting tired of freaking batteries, man. Jesus, I don't play controllers. I don't play consoles very often. Man, replacing batteries is annoying as crap. And on PC, I don't get like a warning like, hey, just a heads up, your batteries are low. I'll be in the middle of a boss fight and my character just starts running into a wall. I'm like, what? I'm like freaking out because I can't fix it.
And just run right off a cliff. Okay.
Yeah, this is what we're doing. So anyway, I am going to try it.
They're funny. It's like batteries are like a thing your kids are never going to experience either because you're such a ninny.
We have lots of batteries. I feel like they actually drain quite quickly in a controller. Maybe I'm just, because I don't use controllers, I would say I replace them, I don't know, maybe every 4th or 5th time I sit down to play, which
maybe
seems
you have
like
long sessions.
They are longer sessions, but it just seems, I don't know, I'm like, the freaking AA batteries, the rechargeable AA batteries last longer.
Double X square, respect.
What's
anyway, that from?
It's from the Shark Tale.
Shark Tale, yeah, Shark Tale. I remember that. Look at us cool guys.
2 buds, just 2 buds.
It's not a good show at all.
It is so good.
But we quote some of that stuff. It's always the worst shows. The whale washing dolphin.
So good.
Oh man. Or when the shrimp is about to get eaten by the sharks and the one vegetarian shark's trying, like really delaying eating it, and the shark's like the shrimps kind of come up with all these excuses like, I have like 1,000 kids and they don't have any legs or any arms or any and just listing off all this horrible stuff. Anyway.
All right, let's get into PoE week.
Yeah, you played PoE at least. Was it just the private league or did you play anything else?
Just the private league.
I guess because you're doing...
Did you have anything outside of the private league? Because why don't you tell me if you have anything outside of the private league and then let's get into...
Sure, okay. So remember last week I was saying that I have I got to remember. My voice has been going in and out a bit, and it's my fault because I'm so like moving away from the mic. So I got to really
sit still and enunciate yourself. Tyler.
Okay, so
speak consistently into the mic.
I was saying how it was a new experience for me. Remember, I'm trying to make like a extremely curse efficient cluster jewel setup.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And the really neat thing, because there's not a lot of curse efficiency on the tree, and including being the occultist, which has, I think, 20 or 30% more curse efficiency than the scion does. you're looking at a total of like 50% curse efficiency. So like it's a lot, right? And it's not a lot to invest in on the tree. It doesn't take you anywhere crazy. So it's not too spread out, except for that one node near, what's that, Constitution, that huge life cluster down there. There's one 5%er down there. Besides that, everything's up north and close together. It's about 50%. But when you add cluster jewels, all of a sudden you're at 150%. It's like, oh, crazy. So that's awesome. So anyway, last week I was saying, I'm trying to come up with a base tree so that no matter the build I'm doing with cluster jewels, I just have that base going on of life and curse efficiency. And I'm like, it's kind of hard. It's a new thing for me to make a base for a build with only 80 nodes. Well, I was a little wrong on that. It's actually a lot less because I forgot that you're doing 2 large nodes, but then I was doing how many nodes I would use based on. You hear this?
Every episode.
This is my phone.
Episode.
Oh, now it's not doing it because I picked it up. All this fancy stuff. I put my phone on D&D, so none of this happens. And that's my alarm telling me that it's 4:00 and it's time to tell the kids to shut up and clean up. And I gotta, if I haven't started dinner now, we're having macaroni and cheese. That's what that alarm's for.
Every episode.
Maybe. We're supposed to have tacos tonight. Anyway, I love tacos. Anyway, the point is like, I don't know where my math was when I was saying that I have 80 nodes for my normal tree, because you have your 2 large nodes, but I don't care about the large nodes in my curse. There isn't too much that I'm caring about right there. So I forgot that I don't have to use the top 3 nodes of every curse, of every large one, right? Because last time I really looked into cluster jewels was before they became a lot more consistent. Remember how I was like, they used to have a different variation of how many cluster node, what are they called? Sockets. They used to have like a large one could have 3 sockets. Remember, I think it was, and then they changed it so that there's always 2. And anyway, I'm gonna save you all the. Nope, I'm not. I'm gonna talk about. So anyway, I'm only want to get to the clusters on my large nodes, but then for some reason I was thinking there would only be 2 medium clusters, but it's not. There's going to be 4 because there's 2 large clusters, and then so of course they each have 2. So I was all out to lunch. My math was completely wrong. So now I'm trying to make a basic tree with 68 nodes instead of 80. So I really had to kind of redo my entire thought process. And I'm trying to think, I'm like, okay, I'm really not able to get a lot of life on the tree. Like I'm like squeaking out 150% life. And that's way too low for me. To me, like my absolute lowest when I'm going just pure life, 175 is like the lowest I'm ever willing to go. So like fighting around like, okay, now with 150% minimum life or maximum life, I really need to make sure that I have more mitigation kicking around. And because I don't play hardcore, right? I'm fine with the occasional death. And it's like, okay, so now do I go with like my curse reservation efficiency, or like how am I getting this other, for determination or purity of elements or something? And yeah. So anyway, I had a lot of fun doing that this week, playing in my brain and on my phone. By the way, so I always used PoE Mate as my mobile companion for doing this, and horrible news, PoE Mate person, if you ever listen to this, but PoE Planner came out with an extremely good app for the phone as well, which works exactly like their mobile version of the website, which actually was amazing. The mobile website that they had was so good. It wasn't just a desktop version. It had, when you clicked on a node, there was a button to confirm. It was windowed properly. Like it was a really well done site. And now their app works the exact same way. I downloaded the app and it already had all of my information from the Chrome browser. So it had all my builds and has the Atlas tree there, which is really nice. Anyway, so I downloaded the PoE Planner app and trying to make a build with 68 nodes, just rough stuff. But I had a lot of fun doing it. So I was playing around a lot with that, and I'm excited to get going on that. And that was basically all I did outside of playing. Elden Ring's kind of taken over. My wife and I were able to play Elden Ring a little bit together this week. And so that was the rest of my personal time because, as I mentioned, I didn't get a lot of that this week. So this week, though, I am going through massive Path of Exile withdrawal, though. Like it's been fun to be into Elden Ring and still think Path of Exile. But man, like favorite game. When you haven't played your favorite game very much for 2 weeks, you get this like feeling inside where you're like, I feel bad. I almost feel guilty. So it's going to be a huge PoE week this coming week, but it wasn't this past week.
I did not have that same feeling. I was so into Elden Ring. Like Not even a tiny bit. I am loving Elden Ring. I think it's so good. I can see myself tiring as I get into like more of the new game pluses, especially when you're just playing by yourself. You're kind of like, all right, well, we'll go through this again, and you just keep leveling because I'm not into PvP. That's not my thing for that game. So yeah,
I do love getting invaded though.
I don't know. So I've never been invaded ever, except when using the furl finger to summon someone in early times when I used to play, when I was trying to get people to help me with some bosses, just random people I would put my thing down. That was the only time I would ever get invaded. I have never, ever been invaded when I haven't used one of those fingers. So there's got to be something different.
I think you might be right, because every experience, I play both with Ian and my wife separately. Yep. And I guess they'd get jealous if it was all together. You know, things get weird when you start going all together. No, sure. But every time I've been invaded, I think that falls true with my play experience as well. Every time it's been a player that's invading us, not an NPC, it's always been co-op.
Yep. I've never ever been invaded by myself, ever. So I don't know what they do or what's different, but yeah, I haven't actually been invaded. I did do some invading myself.
Oh, okay. Well, that was for probably
early on for a quest. There's a quest you have to do it 3 times. What were you just laughing at?
I forgot. Like there was one of those like trolling invaders that invaded us one time, and it took them so long to either find us, or they were waiting for us to come find them in some stupid spot. You know, invaders sometimes stand underneath a really dangerous spot waiting for you to risk your life, and they're not even going to do anything. They're just going to let the world kill us. So something like that. Anyway, it was so long. We got invaded. Totally forgot about it. So I'm like, okay, so I'll see you at the next bonfire. We're going to go fast travel somewhere. So I leave, whoosh, do the little knife swipe, and I leave. And then all of a sudden, Aaron's like, I can't fast travel. What's going on? And it's like, oh, right, you got invaded. Good luck. And it doesn't even let her quit, right? You can't. The quit button's grayed out. And so, yeah. Now, she could just like manually go into the game. But we had way back in the day, whether it was TELUS or whether it was actually from software, we had issues with connectivity way back when. So we're really nervous about losing a save file. So even though it doesn't really work like that. So she's like, I'm not quitting. So she went out, and it was the longest battle. She won. It was the longest trolling battle in the world, though. So I love it when that troller comes in and they're like trying to do all this dancing. They're doing the parrying, but then they don't even hit you after the parry. Oh, the anger inside me. Oh, there are some people where if they wrap their car around a pole, you probably wouldn't feel bad. It's that person who parries you and then doesn't even kill you. They just let it happen and happen and happen again. So anyway, she killed the invader. Kudos, Schmoops. You did it.
Well done.
But private league, right?
Yeah.
While we're on the subject.
Yeah, we did. We started a private league. Let me just say, I'm really happy that we played the private league a little bit before recording. We wanted to. Usually we would record later after a private league, but it just didn't work so well for me today. But I am glad we played it because I'm really enjoying it. Our private league is got a lot of modifiers that we would not normally add because it's softcore. There have been questions. People have asked us. We've posted in our Discord. I need to just get some stuff off of my chest because I was in a very negative space when it comes to grinding gear games for the last 2 days.
This segment is called Feelings with Justin.
I don't like to be negative. I think it just makes you more negative. I think the more you can be positive about something, the better things are in general. So I'm going to get this off just to say my piece. And okay, so here's the deal. Tyler and I do a private league every single league. It's always been solo self-found hardcore. I think there was maybe one time we did a softcore. I don't actually remember that, but it's always been solo self-found hardcore, mostly because we don't like that. We're not good at it. We're not good at the hardcore side of things. We die a lot. This league, 2 weeks ago, we went to create the league. And for some reason, you could create a solo self-found arch nemesis, or you could create a hardcore arch nemesis, but you couldn't create a solo self-found hardcore arch nemesis, which was very odd. I had Tyler hop onto his account just to see, and sure enough, you couldn't do it. So in the middle of that episode of After Dark, actually, I reached out to support and said, hey, just curious, why can't we create a solo self-found hardcore? Is there something up that we don't know about, or is this whatever? We continued through After Dark. By the end of After Dark, they had actually responded and said, we're actually not sure why that option's not there. we're going to send it on to the another team and they'll deal with it and get back to you. So we just thought, okay, well, we need to create our event. So let's just go solo self-found softcore. We'll add some crazy modifiers into it and just, it'll be fun. It's just different, something we can't do. I will say I am totally fine that we did that. I'm still fine with the fact that it's softcore. It's been a lot of fun. It's a big challenge. I could not do this hardcore for sure. Both of us would have died. Tyler would have had 51 new characters already. So fast forward a little bit through the week.
61.
61, sorry.
Yeah.
So, one of the guys from our community happened to mention that he had overheard in a stream that there was certain parts that were being held off for private leagues by Grinding Gear Games because of the Gauntlet event. And when it first came up in our Discord, I actually kind of blew it off. I was like, there's no way that they remove the ability for us to create a solo self-found hardcore league because of the Gauntlet event. That makes no sense. A few more communications went on through the stream, I guess, and we're just hearing it through hearsay. So I reached out to support because I actually mentioned it last episode. I was saying to Tyler, I was actually really kind of bothered with Grinding Gear Games. They hadn't gotten back to me.
I think it was after dark. Yeah.
Yeah, they hadn't responded, which was very odd. They were usually quite good at getting back to me. Didn't hear anything back, and I thought that's kind of annoying that they're not saying anything, but whatever. So I reached back out to support and said, hey guys, just curious why I haven't heard anything. What was the reason? Is solo self-found hardcore coming back? Because also, so we're recording this on Friday. At the beginning of this week, it still was not available. By Sunday, I think I looked at it Sunday or Monday. It still wasn't available. There was still only solo self-found or hardcore arch nemesis.
So there was a few, like half a week, 5 days maybe.
Well, so we're Friday the 25th on Monday of this week. So 5 days ago, it was not available still at that point.
Sure. And we made the league.
We made the league 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
no,
2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Because this is 2 weeks from when we created it. So I said to them, I'm just curious. I didn't hear back. I'm just curious what's going on. They got back to me and said, oh, it was sent off to this other group. I don't really have any answers for you. And so I followed up and said, I'm hoping to get some clarification because this is what we're hearing. We're being told that because of a streamer's gauntlet of the Zizaran gauntlet event that we're unable to create a solo self-found hardcore league. That seems crazy to me that we can't do that because of the gauntlet. I'd just like some confirmation or some information. Like, is that actually true? They responded back and said that it may be due to the event, the gauntlet event, and they wouldn't give me much more information, which I did reply back.
It was one of the support people that replied, it could be because of this, but they haven't gotten back to us yet.
Right. I replied back and was quite frustrated. I said, I don't understand why you would block something that's been a part of Path of Exile since the beginning of leagues. What I do understand is there are modifiers to Gauntlet, which are not normal modifiers. So he has 100% increased damage, whereas the normal modifier level 2 is only 20% increased damage. There's a higher haste that he's got. That stuff I totally understand them not releasing to the public, and they hold that off for the Gauntlet because it's made special for the Gauntlet. Solo self-found hardcore is not. And the frustration for me is when you don't get, because what happened as well is I did send a tweeter, because we have a small Twitter following. It's not like it's getting out to a lot of people, but I just said, can you guys clarify? I'm not getting answers. This is what I'm hearing from support. Is this actually true? I didn't want to make a big deal of it. I'm not going to go on Reddit and post something. That's all I did. But when you don't hear anything back, you get pretty vague answers from support. You kind of put me in a position of trying to draw my own conclusion. I can't get a solid answer from you. And that's really frustrating for me because my conclusion is either you did, and that's bullshit because that should never be stopped. Solo self-found hardcore is just a way people play the game. It should be available all the time. And it is available now. If you go and create a private league now, solo self-found hardcore arch nemesis is an option. So what I wish they would have just said is, yeah, we had a bug. Something was wrong with the site. We're really sorry about that. But they don't. Instead, they kind of lead on to the fact that it might actually be because of this Gauntlet event. And that kind of frustrates me because that's what we're paying for. That's what we want to play. Don't give me the modifiers for the Gauntlet. 100% understand that. They don't want people to practice it ahead of time and know what it's going to be like. But solo self-found hardcore has been a staple to how some people play the game. We've always been able to use it. And it was really frustrating me for 2 days when I thought about the idea of them just straight up removing it because of that event. and that's why we couldn't do it, then all of a sudden I started to get really bothered. I'm like, that's ridiculous. That shouldn't be the reason we can't do it. It should be because something screwed up. And I wish through all these communications that they would have just said, it shouldn't have happened. Something went wrong with the site. It's all fixed now. We're really sorry.
Even
blah, blah, blah.
Even if it was for this event, just say, "Oh, I'm sorry.
Just
we
lie
didn't
to me.
know it was down for 5 days. Here
Maybe
it is."
it was just maybe it was like collateral damage to them not enabling those new mods, or I don't know what it was. It is available now, but it wasn't available up until a week ago. Wasn't available when we created the league, and I just wanted some clarification, especially after we're hearing that it was, and that's not just from a stream, that's from support saying, yeah, it could have been related to the event. And I'm going, well, anyway, that's my little rant because I thought it was nonsense. I really hope that's not the case. I hope it had nothing to do with the event and it just was some weird glitch on their system and now it's all fixed and it's back to normal. But I am glad we played because I had a ton of fun playing today with you and some friends and stuff and just chatting, and it's so much different than what we've normally played in a league because it's minus 40 resist, plus to haste, plus to damage, wicked amounts of health to these mobs. So yeah, the private league so far for me has been really enjoyable. I'm looking forward to playing after and tonight as well. It's just the lead into it was super frustrating for me because I've not ever felt that way before. I think I messaged you yesterday, but we've been through times where things have happened in the community, things have happened in the game, and we tend to be relatively positive to the point that sometimes people make fun of us for being too positive. I was joking to Tyler today. I'm like, we're going to give away our gifts in cash. I'm not buying.
That's right. We're not
it just was really frustrating. So I'm hoping that doesn't become an issue again. But yeah, it was a really frustrating week for me leading into just the last 2 days before the private league. But I'm really glad we played beforehand because it kind of knocked me out of it. And, I remember that I really do like the game. I'm just maybe frustrated with the company at this point, and that's it.
It's a big deal to Justin when he talks more in this episode than he's talked in all the other episodes combined.
That's true.
No, I hear you. You know what, though? I think if it was like, I know GGG support. Well, I don't know. I think I remember GGG actually supporting this event now because it's really good for numbers and publicity and stuff like that. So but it's not their event. And I think that if it's something that they are putting on, do whatever you want with the rest of your game. And even if we agree or disagree, let's say it's like, okay, the whole game is shut down now except for this event. And if that's something that's announced and that's what they do, or if it's like, okay, this is our hardcore solo self-found event. So anytime we do this hardcore solo self-found event, you can't play any other type of hardcore solo self-found event. You have to do this. And maybe that's how they would do it. But as long as that comes with communication, I think it needs to be, sorry, noisy neighbors. I think that needs to be GGG's event to start removing stuff. Otherwise, you start getting into that slippery slope where no matter how successful and amazing, and I think Ziz is awesome. I think his broadcast is awesome. I think everything he does for the community is awesome. Like this stuff for every type of player there, and such a great person too. But when you have an individual that is now, I guess, like it makes sense when someone's that successful that the company kind of can revolve around that and use that as opportunity. But an individual's event, no matter how successful, I don't think should shut something down. Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't know. And maybe that doesn't make sense. But to me, for some reason, it makes sense if it's GGG's event and then they shut it down. And again, like maybe this had nothing to do with it. Maybe it was a glitch, right? Because it is this thing is up, 6 days before, like you could do hardcore now and it's still 6 days before. So you can still practice the event and do all that kind of stuff if you wanted to.
Which is why I don't think, this is why I've kind of, in my head, I'm trying to give Grinding Gear Games the benefit of the doubt because it doesn't make any sense. Why let them do it now? I feel like there had to have been some sort of glitch.
Still in the future, yeah.
The mods, I totally understand. If the gauntlet is made to be way harder than the normal game and way harder than a private league, and GGG has already got on board with that the gauntlet's going to have modifiers, like they introduced increased area of effect his last gauntlet, and that's now actually a thing.
Oh, cool.
I totally am fine with them blocking those mods from private leagues because that's part of the gauntlet's allure. It's this super difficult, awesome, crazy, not for us thing. That I totally am fine with. I just don't like feeling like they potentially, or that the idea is that also a version of the private league in the solo self on hardcore, that could somehow have been tied into it. That seems crazy to me. I can't get on board with it. And I was thinking about it. We've talked about it in the past when things have happened in game, changes have happened, and I'm talking in game. Our opinion every single time, even if we disagree with them, is they know what they're doing for their game. We might not understand it. We'll get on board. Let's see how it plays out. I just couldn't do that in this one because I was like, this is not game related. This is outside of the game. This is something that we've always been able to do, not playing the game, but creating this league, paying them for this service. I just was like, well, why is it not there? And I wish they would have said, shit, whoops. It was supposed to be. That's exactly what I was expecting. When I sent that very first email, I was expecting them to say, oh, we actually don't know why it's there. We're going to fix it. It should be back up. No problem. I would have even been fine with that after we created the vent. Oh, it's working now. We don't know why it wasn't there. But when they actually allude to the fact that it might have been because of the gauntlet, I was like, what? That doesn't make sense.
But don't go getting that person in crap, because maybe they're just being super nice.
I think the support there is awesome. I even messaged in my email, I said, I totally understand this is not your thing. I understand that this is, and I asked him to just pass this on to somebody else.
Now you're getting them in trouble because now.
No, they didn't say anything wrong. They just said.
You just got them fired.
No, that would be ridiculous. But
nope, you did it.
God damn it, Tyler, what was I thinking?
They're going to have a certificate that said, Justin did this to me. And Gigi's going to give it to them and be like, way to go.
Then they can read my email, and I'll actually put it public what my email was, which was very negative towards GGG, but very positive towards that support person. I did appreciate what they said. I was just pissed off if that was true. But I think in the end, I'm hoping it was just a glitch. I'm hoping it was just a mistake. I'm totally fine with gauntlet mods and whatever they want to do with that. The solo self found hardcore, why it didn't make sense. We talked about this in Discord with people. You could still make a solo self found league and just treat a death as hardcore, or create a hardcore league and treat it as solo self found. So that's why it didn't make sense to me that had anything to do with the gauntlet, because you could still, if I wanted to practice, I could just create a solo self found league, play it softcore as if you know what I mean? So my hope is it was just a mistake. But man, did it ever get me irked. Like yesterday.
I couldn't tell. I was like,
actually, I don't think I'm playing Elden Ring forever. I'm not doing this. I'm not.
No. Yeah,
it's true. I messaged you a bit yesterday, and I was
I love it. I love it. But no, most of the time, the times that you initiate conversation with me are at the beginning of league, a path league.
Yeah.
That's when I normally get like, oh, that's pretty cool. Did you see the change? Actually, no, you don't.
Okay, so let's do that.
Let's talk private league. What are you playing? I'm doing so because of our previous agreements with private leagues, you and I normally make a challenge. You have to get to this certain level. That challenge is normally in hardcore, but we say we come up with whatever challenge, and you have to do this until whatever level. So last league, it was you had to get to level 75 with Righteous Fire, and you had to start using Righteous Fire at your second ascendancy, and you couldn't do your second ascendancy in a reasonable amount of time. It's not like a competition where it's we're looking 70. For loopholes. Yeah. So you got to 75, and so you got to Righteous Fire. I didn't get to 75, so that means that I had to keep going with Righteous Fire in our private leagues until I got to 75. You did in last week or whatever, After Dark.
After Dark, yeah.
Gave me an out because this isn't hardcore. Means I didn't have to do Righteous Fire if I didn't want to. I decided to anyway, and I'm
smart given that it's softcore,
right? But also we do have negative 42 resists, and I'm not starting as the chief, which does give you that plus 100 to fire resist. Really wondering why I didn't do that, but anyway, for some reason, I'm going with the occultist. And it's going to be great. It's going to be really good. So far, I just got to Act 2. Like just clicked on, got in and quit, and I'm at 61
breaking
deaths.
The eggs without a death.
I did. So, I died like 10 times getting to breaking the eggs because
but not during.
Well, see, this is the one time I'm actually like, yeah, okay, I could use a Quicksilver flask because I'm getting chilled like crazy, and I need to get out of that reach because all those stupid little like swarmy thingies that do the ice nova,
right?
You get 5 of them together and you're dead.
So.
Yeah, I know, but they're around. Right. And then there's like other things.
The best was the exploding.
Oh my goodness!
I don't even know what those are. Fish?
In the
what
game,
are those things?
Little sea monsters, I think is what they call them.
Like sea witches, right?
Yeah, and so, but anyway, exploding corpses in this game do not have a tell.
They're not an exploding corpse. They're an exploding body.
There's no tell.
Live.
So you're like expecting
when they get to you.
Yeah, that's right. After the explosion is when you're like, oh, they were exploding. Act
do they wiggle like the purple dudes do in Act 2?
I don't know. What are you supposed to actually see what's happening? Get out of here. So anyway, yeah, I had a rough time, a fun time. No, none of these are complaints except for I would like a tell. But
it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was. There was one time where I opened a strong box, and right off the bat,
it was so
it was
good.
like, I knew
nope.
that because they had that red tinge to them if they're going to be exploding.
And you were in a corner. You were in a really small
I had nowhere
spot.
to go.
Yeah.
So I just like put the controller on the desk, waited for it to happen.
Didn't cast.
All right, let's go back.
So good.
But that kind of tell is hard to see when there's like more than one enemy on the screen. I was fortunate, and I guess unfortunate in the circumstance, but I could tell what they were because there was no enemies on the screen. I click the strong box. Now I know what they are. So anyway, I'm going occultist. I'm eventually going righteous fire. Right now I'm leveling with SRS and using their fire damage. So with combustion and infernal legion. Sometimes I put on summon phantasm instead. So leveling all that kind of stuff. And there was a little thing that I was hoping would work, even though I knew it wouldn't. Summon Phantasm has, your minions can create Summon Phantasms, or it's a skill that hits. And then it's like when that skill kills an enemy, then you have a chance of getting a Phantasm, or you do get a Phantasm. And I was kind of hoping for some reason that skills that don't hit would work with it, even though it explicitly states it's skills that hit. Because I really wanted to have Blight with Summon Phantasm, but it doesn't work. So, still leveling Blight just for fun, just in case something changes. Maybe they'll change.
At least you
how
can
that
slow
skill
stuff down.
That's right. Yeah, for a bit. And I'm right now, all I have are intelligence travel nodes and curse efficiency. That's all I have.
Super effective.
I can't even get curses yet. So I have no life. I have no minion damage. I have no investment into anything except for intelligence travel nodes and curse efficiency. And I don't know, it seems to be working out pretty good for me, right?
It's going well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 61 deaths.
You're done
by
Act 1.
Act 1. That's not bad, right? I mean, triple digits by Act 3 is my guess. So, yeah. No, I have high hopes just for 75. But it's a 10-day event, not a 10-month event.
Yeah, you'll be fine. And not hardcore, so you should be all right.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I'll be playing lots this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how about you? What are you starting as and where are you going with it? And how come you're not 75 yet?
I'm a witch, and I'm thinking Detonate Dead because we talked about that in one of the After Darks. It seemed like it was popular in solo self on hardcore, so I was like, man, I'll give it a shot. I have no clue on the direction. I know people that have been like, oh, you're playing Detonate Dead. Oh, do this, and oh, that's good. And even Josh was like, oh, I saw this. I don't know. He was saying stuff. I'm like, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Josh has been playing for a month and he knows more about the game than we do.
Oh, he's so into it. But the thing that's smart when you get into a game like Path of Exile, I think following builds is really good because it gives you a relatively intricate, like a big dose of information on one part of the game. And I think that's really good because then you can kind of move that into other parts as you play other things. And you get
for sure. You can take the knowledge, but then you get the experience and what the game's like. And so you know what to expect when you try a different type of mechanic.
Yeah. So I've never played Detonate Dead. I haven't looked up any builds or guides or anything. I have, at this point, I'm going for life. I am going for resistances. And, I know I can't play Detonate Dead till quite a bit later. Like it's not going to scale very well for quite a while. So right now I'm just playing with my typical Stormblast Mine, Orba Storms. It's easy. Stuff dies pretty quick. I will say it's funny. We were playing today and I was saying to you, I'm noticing when you add 40% more health, when you take more damage yourself, so you have to be a little bit more careful. I'm noticing things that I hadn't noticed before, like enemies do attacks that I was like, the hell was that? I've never seen that thing on the ground before.
But those are things I see all the time, and you're like, wow, look at this. This is great.
Yeah, there was stuff I was seeing that I just had not seen before being left on the ground and things to watch out for. So it's fun. It's a challenge. It's a new way to play. I'm really enjoying it. I don't like that minus 40 to resist included chaos. I didn't think it would.
Yeah, for some reason we're always used to thinking elemental resists.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. So
no,
I'm
minus
actually
40
quite
to
glad.
chaos is rough, man.
We're gonna pretend that that's why I'm the occultist. That plus 60 to chaos res. We're gonna pretend that was the reason.
And the thing is, Act 2 has a lot of chaos, and I'm just at the end of Act 2. I'm going to be going to Act 3, but Act 2, in that western side of the map, there's a decent amount of chaos. And when you get into the Val ruins, it's like those spitters that like know. I was saying this. They know you're going to turn the corner before you turn the corner. They're all like, and go. They all just like fire at once.
There's somebody with a flag at the door,
he's just waiting. He's like, he's coming
and then
now.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. So that's and then Weaver, like the spiders, that part was rough. With minus 40% chaos, because you don't get chaos resist early on. It's just you don't find it on much as you're in Act 1 and 2. So yeah, a little tough, but it's
honestly,
it's fun.
I almost never find chaos on any of my gear. I'm almost every single character I have, even on standard. Granted, remember I'm a casual player. It's almost all crafted. It's almost like cold and chaos, lightning and chaos. It's almost all what it is. I tend to look
for it because I do like it, but I will definitely be even more so this league. This league's tough because you have to now balance all of them having an additional minus 40. Like we were laughing, by the time you finish Act 10, you'll have gotten a total of minus 100% chaos resist.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're going to have the minus 60 from the two bosses plus this minus 40. That's a lot to make up. Like we were joking, like, boy, I'm going to be happy with 0. If I can get to around 0, that's actually crazy to think about it, because that would actually be quite difficult.
Have fun with Syndicate.
Yeah.
They're going to
whack you around. I'm enjoying the challenge. It is too bad that it's not hardcore, but I would never have done these. We would never have done these mods if it was hardcore. So it's kind of fun to try something new and see how it goes. People are insane. I was like, we're, I don't know, only a few hours into the league starting and people were up into the 60s. And I was like, all right, guys, just chill out. Okay.
Yeah, I want to feel good about myself. You guys chill out.
I went into my hideout to make sure I got my name in yellow at least once. So I was the first to enter.
Why? What does that do? Which hideout? Glacial or something?
Glacier. I can't remember which hideout design I have, but I went into it and I got my name in yellow. I was like, all right, that's it.
I won.
I'm done. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's fun. If you're looking for a fun time and you're not in the private league, there's always tons of room. We can always add more slots. Yep. So
our prizes are totally legit and totally compete with Ziz's Gauntlet. I think the most you can win is $20, and
you can win times 2 though. So
you could
if you can win for
who needs
$2,000. But we have some fun giveaways. It's just mostly for fun. It's for people in the community. If you're interested in it, you can find the info in Discord. But
we promise we'll give away a brand new car.
Yeah, there's a car coming. We talked about it. It's one of these days.
What episode was that? Episode 10?
I feel like it was like 2 or 3. I feel like it was really early.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. There's a car coming. Anyway, I'm going to be playing more later tonight before After Dark. So After Dark, I'll be talking more about it. But yeah, it's been fun. I'm enjoying it.
Samesies, Just. And GGG, we love you.
Most of the time.
Justin does too.
Most of the time.
Hey, you know what though? The glitch that happened, just not taking it down because of the event, but the glitch that happened worked out really well because I'm having way more fun with this league so far. As far as I remember, I have a terrible memory, but the fact that I don't have to restart, but I'm still having a terrifying time is fun. True. So maybe this is the start of something grand.
Probably not. Hardcore is really fun because of the people dying as they get higher. It's enjoyable to watch people die.
You know what? That's true. I have less fun in hardcore, but I have more fun when other people die in hardcore.
Yeah, it's tough. There's a tough balance there. I'm not sure where that is.
There's also that awkward part because people are really hurt emotionally sometimes when they die and they're like, and they're like, it's actually a really
Oh,
sad
it's so
thing.
good.
So
it's
you
just
have
crushing.
like,
Just
you want-
crushing.
you want to
So
say,
good.
haha, you died, but you can see they're having
Every
a rough
time.
time with it. So it's like that borderline, do you?
Every time somebody's typing F, I'm like, haha. You don't want me online when you die because I will laugh.
So,
It's hilarious.
There is that joy to hardcore. That's a hard one.
It's been fun. It is really fun to try these challenges that we would certainly not normally do. And I think the people we've chatted with so far are having fun with it too, trying to figure it out. I do think I think it will matter less as you get further into the game. Like, I think that increased damage, cast speed, movement speed, and health, as you ramp up in power, I think it becomes less of an issue. I think it's definitely a challenge in the first few acts for sure. But I think as you progress further, it probably becomes less of a challenge.
Maybe,
but it is still fun. I am still having a really good time.
It was fun to right off the bat. Act 1, you just beat Hillock. You check your resists, -40.
Yeah, to everything.
Oh, I love it. I just love it. And it did really but I was saying, and we should wrap up. My wife came home like 20 minutes ago and she's being really kind. And goodness me, dinner's going to start in 25 minutes.
What do you want to say?
Dinner's going to start in 25 minutes. I haven't even started making the beef yet. Anyway, I'm not making
macaroni.
The beef, cooking the beef. No, it's tacos. I want tacos. What was I saying? Oh,
roll
to
your
me.
ball. Chris will never listen this long to hear it. Go ahead.
This is difficult, and I'm dying lots, but it's not impossible. And I feel like this is how Path of Exile is supposed to be.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I think the counter argument to that is what I made, which is that if it was, your retention would be pretty bad.
Yeah, you would definitely need to have a little bit more solid tutorial setups or guide, maybe once they start, if they ever do. Remember, like how in the Chinese room, I think it is, that they have that like 3 archetypes that you could follow, that they just they give you like a tutorial. This is your next nodes. This is what you pick up at this quest for your gems. This is what you socket it with. Maybe once they do that and give like a new player a nice solid way to go through, you can really start ramping up that difficulty, because I do feel like this is supposed to be one of those where it's just like,
you know, my argument would be to that though too, is I'll bet you when you first started playing Path of Exile, it felt like what we're playing in the private league. And I would bet Josh could kind of say the same thing. If you're not following a guide and you kind of just went into the original version, it probably felt like what we're experiencing now, because you weren't as knowledgeable, you didn't know what you were doing and stuff like that. So
true. And we hate leveling a second character, so why on earth would we want this in the second character?
Oh god, yeah.
Okay,
this has been fun.
You win. You win, Justin.
Let's wrap this up. But yeah, if you are looking for some fun over the next 10 days, or 8 when this comes out, private league's running. Find it in Discord. That's the only place we post it.
If you're good at Path of Exile, don't join. Don't be better than us, okay? Don't just like flaunt your little yellow text.
Bring it. Please.
Oh, you should see Justin's face. He is an arrogant 16-year-old with that eye rolling. Good for you, bud.
Easy. We got you.
I Canadianed it. Good for you, bud.
Hey. All right, let's wrap this up. Forever Exiled, Path of Exile podcast, episode 129. Thanks for joining us. I'm Justin, A.K. Tags.
Tyler, Record of Days.
Patrons will catch you in After Dark. Everybody else will catch you in episode 130 next week. If you're looking for more information, you can find it down below, foreverexiled.com, or on Twitter, foreverexiled82. We got a Discord, which you should be on if you're not on, because it is one of the greatest places in the world.
You're crushing it.
Patreon, if you want to support the podcast, hop on there. Come listen to After Dark. Hang out with us. Be cool. Bye.
It's nice having my voice back. Next episode's April 1st, just. I hope. Were you recording? Oh, that was so funny.